TIFU by changing my computer password. I am a drug prevention specialist. My entire job is dedicated to preventing teens from using/abusing alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, just so we're clear. I have to change my password every 6 weeks, agency policy. Since I only have a few usual go-to passwords, I had to get creative this time around. New password: smoke weed every day for 20. Why? It's ironic. Funny. A way to give myself a little chuckle at the start of the workday. Until yesterday morning. I come in and my computer is offline. I can't even log in, and I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I tell my supervisor and she says 6 words that promptly tear me a new asshole. Leave your password under your keyboard. A tech guy will come in while I'm in my meeting. My marijuana committee meeting. I give 0 fucks if adults smoke weed. I just work here. So I go back to my desk panicking. What the hell am I gonna do? I have to leave in 2 minutes to get to the meeting on time. So I scribble my former password on a sticky note and shove it under my keyboard. I know it won't work. What else was I supposed to do? Fast forward to after the meeting. I'm back at my desk and the tech guy is still there. He says my password won't work and that I should try to figure it out. My supervisor comes in. I have a feeling this will happen to me at some point, so I'm gonna hang out to watch how to fix it. Fuck. Our computers have the login pretty large and the tech guy made it so you can see what is typed, probably because he wanted to make sure he got it right from my note. I look frantically for a way to hide the letters, but the usual button isn't there. I try my old ones a few times knowing they won't work. Everyone is getting impatient and I look stupid AF to my boss for forgetting my own password. Then I think, okay. If I type the password real fast and hit the arrow, it'll go away too quickly for her to read it. So I type it. Then that fucking loading symbol of death mocks me. Loading and loading and loading and loading long enough for a barely literate 5-year-old to read it 10 times. My boss reads it: smoke weed every day for 20. She didn't think it was ironic or funny, as she said in a brief meeting in her office afterward. It was apparently embarrassing that our agency employee saw it, and my sense of humor reflects terribly on her and my own reputation. Can I crawl under my desk and die there now? TLDR, I'm a drug prevention teacher who made her computer password smoke weed every day for 20 because it was ironic and funny. My boss found out and was pissed. TIFU by eating the green paste. This happened yesterday. I got sushi with this girl after finally getting the courage to ask her out. To those out there going through the struggle of feeling like you can talk to someone you like, just do it. It's nowhere near as big a deal as you're thinking. Don't be too proud to ask your friends for advice either. Anyway, this is the first time in years that I've had sushi. Everything's going well as we're just talking about school until I'm so focused on what she's saying that I pick up the tasty-looking green paste with my chopsticks without any thought to what it is. After I throw it in my mouth and start chewing, she pauses and asks, "Did you just eat that whole thing of wasabi?" I stop chewing as the spiciness kicks in and I realize that I'm dumb as fuck. I figured it would have been gross if I just spit it out into a napkin right in front of her, so I keep chewing slowly instead. That doesn't help, so I grab the salmon with my sticks and start eating it along with the wasabi so that the taste isn't so bad. This doesn't help at all either, and she can see me struggling to maintain. "Drink your tea," she suggests. "Oh yes, liquids, they exist," I think to myself. After this only somewhat helps, I just smile, point towards the restroom and nod my head in hopes that I at least look cute while dying on the inside. The door's fucking locked. After this I just swallow everything left, walk back to the table and live with the flames inside my nose. The rest of the lunch was enjoyable though. Will probably jokingly ask her if she wants to go for some wasabi next time. TLDR wasabi. Never again. TIFU by forgetting how being paralyzed works. didn't he happen today, do they ever? It was actually about 5 to 6 years ago. So for context, I am a paraplegic. My legs put in their 2 weeks notice a while back, and so I use a wheelchair and my arms to get around. I also at the time of this story drove a rather large truck. I was younger and stronger and too impatient for an automatic lift, so to get into the truck I would simply put one hand on the seat and one hand on the flat part of the door and just lift myself straight up, and then, once I was up, I'd hop on over into the seat. I had a doctor's appointment scheduled, and I go and get everything checked out, normal stuff. I've had the same doctor for years, so I was on good terms with the nursing staff there as well, and they were all very friendly. At one point I dropped my shoe once I was in the truck and had to call and ask a nurse to come get it, and we had a laugh. So I go to leave and head over to my truck and get ready to lift myself up. I put my hands down and lift myself into the air like the majestic eagle I am, and as I do I see a nurse leaving the building in front of me. Now here's where the hamster that powers the wheel in my brain took a lunch break, I guess, because I smiled and, happy as can be, tried to wave back. Now I don't know much, but I have now learned that if there are only 2 things holding up your entire body, you should absolutely not remove one of those things. I barely got my hand off the door when obviously my body fell sideways and slammed my cheekbone right into the corner of the door that previously had my hand. That blow, somehow by whatever divine intervention, knocked me back into my chair, but also kept enough momentum to then throw my head into the side of the truck and smack it one more time. After that I just sat there staring into the sky, wondering how I even got my license in the first place. TLDR, I forgot I was using my arms to hold myself and tried to wave, smacking my head twice on my truck. TIFU, by realizing my history teachers gave me a horribly skewed version of what happened leading up to the Civil War. I had 4 years of ROTC in high school and 2 semesters of American history. 2 separate teachers, so not a history major, but I have absorbed a lot of material on the Civil War. And I realized today that it was horseshit and I got hoodwinked. Before that, like most people, when someone asked me why the Civil War happened, my answer would have been slavery. And that definitely was an issue. But my teachers presented it as thought it was not the forefront issue. They gave me a lot of info, what the economy was like and what other industries, aside from slavery, were doing, how industry was just taking off in the North, what Europe was doing, and why that was important, etc. There was a lot. And it made sense, because I found it very believable that politicians and businessmen were doing underhanded shit and trying to hide it behind or around the slavery issue. So they essentially presented me with the idea that slavery was not the main reason for the Civil War, it was business. Again, super plausible. This was all being presented with an attitude of, now let me tell you what really happened. I am 6 semesters of this shit. No one had even mentioned the declarations of secession, the actual physical documents the states wrote when they left. I had no idea they existed. I read them all today and holy shit, that stuff reads like a dystopian nightmare. They were all about slavery and how it was the greatest institution ever conceived and that it had to be protected. There's no way this wasn't the forefront issue. After reading those papers, I messaged some friends who had the same class to make sure I wasn't remembering wrong, and I wasn't. I told them of my discovery. They had never heard of the secession declarations either. Ugh. Reddit let me know earlier how absolutely wrong I was. I don't care about people calling me dumb. I'll own that. I just trusted my teachers to give me facts, and I got this propaganda. I am disgusted with myself for carrying around incorrect information for so long. I hope my stupidity is isolated, but I wonder how many people are out there thinking they know something but actually don't. TLDR, I thought the Civil War was about slavery. My history teachers convinced me that it wasn't. Then Reddit proved them and me totally wrong as fuck. Edit. The foo part of this is that it took me making an ignorant post on a other forum and getting blasted by the Reddit community about how completely stupid I was for me to learn about the documents or the cornerstone speech. Which I guess is fair, I dunno. It hurt my feelings, but it shook loose the truth for me. TIFU by telling a dude we've been watching him for years. Another update. First post. First update. First, I want to tell you all that I've truly had fun reading all of your stories, having you desperately want to be my friend, hearing what yous appreciates about me, having my possible Canadian heritage questioned, and most of all having my phone ping every 10 seconds for 24 hours straight. Great execution, you're doing terrific. As for the update, I've been paying more attention than normal to the sidewalk while I am driving, in hopes of seeing that I hadn't completely obliterated my dude's ability to feel comfortable running on his route. I am daydreaming about what I will do when I see him. Will I wave? Will I honk? Will I yell, "How are ya now," into the wind as I drive, gently blowing his hair as I pass? And holy shit, what if I am walking when I see him next? Will my common sense just leak out if my ears completely, and holy shit, will I pull out my goddamn phone, open Reddit and grin at him? Will I then awkwardly offer to give him half of my internet gold? Will I make a joke about karma? Fucking probably. I hope not, but fucking probably. So tonight my mom read my post out loud to my dad while I was on the phone with them. In case you were wondering, he also wishes I wasn't so fucking awkward, bud, but it's kind of his fault if you think about it. Guys, I know what you thinking, and don't worry, she successfully censored my curse words, until about halfway through when she was having trouble breathing through laughter. Even then she swore quietly, bless her heart. Basically she thinks I am famous now, and that I am going to be on Good Morning America, but like on a slow news day, not like a /good news day. Her words. She's a total mom. After she's done, I am telling them some of your comments about making shirts and all your ideas about how to get my dude's shoe size so that my mom, again bless her heart, can buy him shoes. Anything from using light sprinklings of salt on the pavement to forcing him to run through plaster of Paris were thrown out there. Why all are a bunch of snipers. Suddenly my dad says, "Oh, by the way, I have seen him running recently." Yes, okay. And guys, in this moment, I am so relieved that I didn't fuck this dude's entire world up. I say, oh good, where was he when you saw him? Same route. Outside of his house. Wait, you fucking know where he lives? Yeah, that one house on that one street that is not in our neighborhood but on a crossroad / I see him leave to run, and I see him get back home sometimes when I am driving. Look at me, I am Ashley's dad, and this totally isn't a big deal at all. Shut up dad, it totally fucking is. Holy fuck. I say. You just made it worse. My sister says. My mom is basically dead at this moment. Mom, you cannot buy him shoes and drop them at his house. She says, yeah, that would be awkward. So good news. He is still running. Bad news, we might actually be stalkers now. TL Doctor edit, there's a dude in town we've seen running for years, we gave him a nickname and everything. Ran into him in person, told him this in the creepiest way possible. Find out my dad did the same a year before. Later found out my dad knew where he lived this whole time. Also my mom wants to buy him shoes.